Selamat pagi, or good morning in Indonesian, which is where I spend a lot of my time. I want to speak about something that's putting a lot of pressure on relationships. And it's something that's really, it's been around for a long time, but it's quite unspoken about and suppressed. And it's affecting a large proportion of relationships, and especially the women in those relationships. So the thing that I'm talking about is the fact that men don't talk to other men. In fact, men quite often don't talk to anybody, and it's something that comes very natural for women. Women have been doing it for generations, where they connect and they gather and they talk with their friends and they share deep, personal, intimate stuff with them. But guys seem to have this inbuilt macho mechanism where we feel we have to fix everything for ourselves, where we feel like we're broken or we're not doing good enough, or we're not, like we're not okay if we can't fix it ourselves or if we're struggling. And I know from personal experience this is what happens for me as well. And even now, knowing this stuff and teaching this stuff, I still have to force myself in those times of depression and those times where I'm really struggling, where I feel like I have no sense of purpose or no drive or no, like where I feel things just aren't happening for me, and I doubt everything I'm doing and everything I'm about. And there's definitely times that I have those moments. And I have to force myself to actually talk to somebody, to pick up the phone and to ring somebody. And actually I did yesterday with a friend who I just sent a message out to and said, look, can we talk? I really need to talk to somebody. And I'm blessed that I have brothers in my life that I can do that with. And it's also one of the reasons that I run men's groups, because I think it's so important and well, it's imperative, that guys have a place where they can come and connect with other men and just talk about the struggles, talk about whether, our failings, talk about our failures, talk about, like if we're having problems with sex, with intimacy, with impotence, with financial struggles, with being a provider, if we're having problems in our relationship or we're struggling with the feminine. It's so important that we get to talk about that, especially with other guys. When we don't, and we feel like we have to hold this ourselves, and we feel like we have to be the one to sort it out and fix it, and we often don't. We just suppress it and suppress it and suppress it. It often turns into us either becoming depressed or turning to alcohol or working harder or doing things like where we feel we kind of can do things, like where we do have a sense of control because we feel so powerless in this other area. But what that does is it puts an enormous pressure on our partners, because our partners know what's going on for us. I mean, maybe not, we don't even open up to them to the degree that we could, but our partners know, because they can feel it and they can sense it, and sometimes we let them know elements of that. But what we do is we say to them, don't you tell anybody, don't you dare tell anybody. So we put them under this bind of trust, this cone of silence, where they're not allowed to talk to anybody, and they're not allowed to share our struggles. And they say things like, can you talk to your friends? Can you talk to your GP? Can you talk to your boss? And we're like, no, I don't need to talk to anybody. I can sort it out. Don't you tell anybody, So there seems to be this big defense that we have. That's not fair. I mean, I think the women are carrying such a huge responsibility as it is, because it's through them that most guys end up making changes in their lives. And most of my clients that I work with are women. And it's through the women that the men end up coming to see me and then making changes in their life. It was exactly the same for me. It was my ex-partner who led me into the personal development field, which now enables me to do what I do now and help other people. So that in itself is a big enough weight to carry, and a big responsibility for the feminine to carry. And then let alone dumped with this other part, this other responsibility that is not theirs. They have enough to worry about. They have their own stuff to connect, to carry around and to work out and to sort out. They don't need to be carrying our stuff as well. This is why, like I said, I run the men's groups. It's so important for me to run men's groups and have a place where people can come and connect and talk about anything that goes on in a safe environment, Do you know, I think it's just over 4,000 people in Australia alone last year committed suicide. That's double than what it was in 2014. That's over 4,000 unnecessary deaths. And did you know 80% of them were male? That's a huge percentage. It breaks my heart when I hear that. It breaks my heart whenever I hear somebody commit, male or female, but especially men, committing suicide. And I fully believe it's because they didn't have somebody to talk to. They didn't have somebody to connect with, to open up to. So I encourage everyone watching this, male, female, you know, like it doesn't matter. Connect, talk, you know, find someone in your life you can connect with. If, you know, men, find a men's group. Find somewhere where you can go connect with other men and not just talk about footy and cars and jobs and work and stuff like that, but talk about what's really going on. Talk about feelings and emotions and cry if you need to cry, you know. It's so important. So I just wanted to share that and hopefully raise the seed of awareness and have people starting to do something about it. And women, if you're watching this, encourage your men to come to go to men's groups. I know a lot of the clients, the women that I work with are telling me this stuff all the time, and they're telling me about the struggles they're having, and they know that their partners are hurting and are dying inside, and they feel helpless and powerless and stuck and not able to do anything about it. But we can do something about it. So I hope this has been helpful. If anybody, just Google like men's groups. There's Mankind Project do amazing men's work and men's groups all around the world. If you have any questions for me, just log on to my website, www.lifetalk.com.au. Flick me an email, flick me questions, anything you need to know, I'm happy to answer. Until then, have an amazing day. Take care.